Hello, friends. How are you all doing? Great. Okay, some of us are joining in, so we will wait for a couple of moments before we start off. I hope you're having a good day. It's a fine day. All right. Okay, so now that reminds me. Okay, I'll tell you a joke with this word fine. It reminds me of a nice humorous joke. I hope you like it. Once what happened that a man was summoned to a court, and he had to, the court had summoned him because he had parked his car at a place where he shouldn't have parked it. So he went to the court to, pay whatever charges were there and get his car back. So all the charges were paid and the paperwork was done, but the judge was very surprised. He asked this man that, you seem to be a very reasonable man. Why would you park your car at a place where you shouldn't have? So the man answered very innocently that, sir, the board said that it was fine for parking, so I parked it there. Yes, the word fine is like that. It has two meanings, two entirely different meanings. The spelling and the pronunciation of the word remains the same, but it has two different meanings. And you know what such words are called? Yes, homonyms. Homonyms means a word which spelled and pronounced in the similar fashion in different circumstances, in different contexts, but has entirely different meanings, more than one meaning, which are entirely different from each other. Okay, I hope you found it amusing. And it's also, one of the ideas for starting your speech. You can always start your speech with an anecdote or some humorous thing, but it is very essential that that anecdote should be related to your topic, not just, out of the blue. All right. So shall we start? How are you all doing? How are you able to listen to me? I'm sure you are. Yeah. Give me a thumbs up. Great. Okay. I will share the screen with you here so that you can, great. You all can see? Great. Good. All right. I will read a quote to you here by Alexander Gregg. There are three things to aim at in public speaking. First, to get into your subject, then to get your subject into yourself, and lastly, to get your subject into the heart of your audience. If you remember, last time around, we discussed that there are basically three steps in the whole public speaking process. First, it's the speech itself, meaning we decide what is going to be our speech, how is it going to look like, how we designed our speech, and we sort of drafted it after doing a lot of research, after doing a lot of reading, after organizing our thoughts, after sequencing our thoughts, we drafted our speech, which we plan to deliver in front of the audience. That is how we get our subject and understanding of our subject in greater detail. After which we come to the second step, meaning preparing for the speech. Now we are getting that whole understanding. We are trying to internalize that understanding of the subject in detail in our heart and mind, so that we develop first the confidence, second conviction and passion for our topic, which will ultimately get reflected when we speak on the stage in front of an audience. And when we do that, we are able to to convince our audience in the same fashion as we are. We make them feel in a similar fashion, as compassionately as we feel for the topic, and then only it becomes a good speech. But you know what happens? Uh, you are ready with the speech. Obviously, we have not yet practiced it. We have only drafted it. We have only written it. And I'm sure you all did for the topics we decided, yeah, last time. So once we have written that speech, you might be wondering that I might forget a couple of things because it's a longish speech. It's written on a longer paper of a big notebook, and I might forget a couple of points. Yes, chances are we can forget, but there are a couple of techniques we'll do, practicing exercises and confidence building exercises, which will help us with two things. First, taming the fear, yeah, and also remembering what all need to be spoken and how it has to be spoken. And that will come later. First is the second step, that is preparing for the speech. Now I want you to visualize yourself standing on a stage, okay? Standing on a stage. Right now you visualize, all right, imagine yourself standing on a stage facing an audience. Now the speech is ready with us. We have already written it, we have drafted it, we have read it aloud, and we have seen how we sound when we are speaking, right? It's all fine. We have not practiced it, you may not remember the whole thing, that is absolutely fine. Right now I just want you to visualize yourself standing on a stage facing an audience, maybe of 30 people, 50 people in your school auditorium or your even your classroom. Yes, so just imagine yourself that you are about to speak and you are standing right there. Yeah, the moment we imagine this, the moment we feel that, the actual moment, how are we going to act when the actual moment comes, when we have to step on stage? Suddenly we get cold feet. Yes, cold feet. Cold feet, that's a phrase that I just used. I had told you we would be learning a lot of new words and new phrases. Okay, so this is just one of them. Cold feet means when we suddenly get scared and nervous because we are about to be doing something and we do not we are supposed to be doing that thing, but we don't want to do because we are scared, and we suddenly get cold feet. You feel that shivering, right? Now that is the fear we are talking about. We need to tame that fear with a lot of practice sessions, with a lot of rehearsing. Yes, rehearsing. Why I'm saying rehearsing, it's not a performance on the stage that you're going to do. We rehearse for dance, we rehearse for dramas that you might be doing in during the annual festival or annual day of your school. Uh, yes, this is also a performance that you will be doing on stage, which is why you need to rehearse it in a similar fashion as you would have done for those events, which is why it becomes very, very important that we rehearse it as many times as possible. Now, how do we do that? How do we start? Okay, the speech is ready with me. I know what I have written. I can read it a number of times, but hold on, hold on. You move back. You are standing on a stage. Do you really think that you just move on to the stage and rattle out the speech that you drafted for the topic? No, no, no. There is a bit of work that needs to be done before that. First thing, when you step on the stage, you need to greet your audience, first of all. Secondly, you need to introduce yourself. All right. Thirdly, you need to introduce your topic. Now, we'll take all these three things one by one. These are very, very important. As a rule, you have to do all these three. Doesn't matter if it's an event in a school or maybe in some club, maybe in your condominium where you are living, where you are staying, and there may be some sort of an event for children, a debate competition or a dance competition, and there you have a public speech as well, right? It could be anything, doesn't matter. You will introduce yourself after greeting the audience. You will introduce your topic. It may so happen that the computers of the event have already, they have told your name and the topic you are going to be talking about. Irrelevant of that fact, you will introduce yourself and the topic. And first of all, you greet your audience. Now, how do we greet our audience? What do we do and what do we say? All right. Till here, are we all together? Give me a thumbs up for that, please. Great. Are we on the same page? Are you following me? Great. You are still on the stage. Visualize yourself on the stage. Don't come off the stage. You are still on the stage. All right. Now, when you are standing on the stage, when you reach there, you just nod your heads slightly. Don't bow any more than that, and you simply say your audience a very good morning to all of you, and that's it. Or maybe very good afternoon to all of you, whichever is applicable, whichever is appropriate. See, the audience might have already been welcomed by the computers. They might have, when the event starts, they might have said that a very, very warm welcome to the audience and thanks for being here and this and that. You do not really need to repeat all that. When you step on stage, you simply say a very, very good morning to all of you, a very, very good afternoon to all of you, whichever is applicable, after which you tell them your name, your full name, very, very clearly. I am Amit Malhotra. That's it. Okay. And you say that with a smile on your face. Whatever the topic is, topic may be a sensitive one, topic may be a very emotional one, topic may have something, which has some sort of, it may be about some disaster. But at that time, when you are telling them your name, you need to wear a smile on your face when you are welcoming them, when you are greeting them, and when you are introducing yourself to them. And a slight nod, and that's it. After which, we introduce our topic. Okay. Now, how do we introduce our topic? See, there is first way, which is a very easy one, when we simply, put it across the table that the topic I'm going to be talking about is this. All right, which is absolutely fine. It's not wrong. The second way, I'll demonstrate, and you will know. Okay, so let me actually demonstrate so that you will know what are the two ways and which one sounds more interesting. All right. I'll be taking an example here. As you can see on the screen, the Statue of Liberty. All right. Now you already know the topic because the slide is there and you can read it. Otherwise, let's imagine for a moment that you did not read it. Okay. So the first way is, good afternoon, dear audience. My name is Minnie, and I'm going to be talking about the beautiful icon, most iconic building of the United States of America, that is the Statue of Liberty. That is first way of telling the audience what my topic is. Now the second way. A very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Minnie Dave, and I'm going to be talking about a historical monument, an iconic monument of great historical importance, a monument which was gifted by one country to her sister country, a monument that envisages and symbolizes liberty and freedom and hope. Yes, I'm going to be talking about the Statue of Liberty in the city of New York. All right. That was the second way of introducing my topic, where I gave a bit of description about what is to come. The first way was plain and simple, where I just put it across to the audience and then they know. The second one, though, is a bit different because I'm giving sort of dropping some kind of hints so that my audience They have this curiosity while they are listening to me. When I'm giving that description, they have this curiosity, and a sort of intrigue is developed as to what she's going to describe about, which iconic monument she's talking about. At that time, I capture their attention. My audience's attention is something that I capture at that time. And once I'm able to do that, once I'm able to capture their attention, capture their imagination, I can rest assured that their attention will be with me throughout the speech. However, that does not mean that those who were not paying attention to you, when you greeted them or when you told them your name and introducing the topic, they will later not pay attention. That is not the case. They may later pay attention, but chances are that they will be with you right from that start till the end, which means that the way we introduce our topic, the way we present it to the audience should be really catchy, should be maybe a bit dramatic at times, maybe. It should be such that it immediately, brings them to, okay, what is she going to say? There is something really important. That is something really going to be interesting. That element of interest, surprise should be evoked when you are introducing your topic. Yeah. Now you might say that, okay, this was something, the topic was like, which wherein you can, explain about the monument or an event or a place or a person, and that description becomes very interesting. What about something where no such description is there? What do we do? There are ways to introduce those as well. Okay. Like, open with a quote or a proverb or a saying. So you can start with the introduction of your topic in this fashion, meaning you can give a quote, for example, or maybe a proverb or a saying. Saying could be like a friend. They say that there is a famous saying. You can actually start by saying that. There is a famous saying, a friend in need is a friend indeed. And then you can elaborate upon it, and then you can present it that, yes, so today this is the topic, that way. Secondly, another proverb is like, all roads lead to Rome. Or it may be another quote like, a rose by any other name would smell just as sweet. And you may also quote who had quoted this. If that quote has been written or spoken or quoted by some famous author, for some famous personality, you can quote that person also, the name of that person also. You should do that rather. Okay. So you can open your speech, just before formally starting with the speech, the one that you drafted, the initial statement should contain a quote or a proverb or a saying. Now, which quote to choose, which proverb to choose, right? That depends on what topic you have. Now, there may be hundreds of thousands of quotes and saying, and how do I choose that? How do I even know if there is such quote there that exists, which can be used for my topic? Yes, for that you have to do a bit of a research again, just like we did for gathering information on our topic, right? Which means again a bit of research. Now, how do you do that research? Maybe you punch in the keywords of your topic title that you have chosen or you have been assigned. You put in quotes on such and such topic. Okay, so you will get a lot of quotes. You will find a lot of quotes, and you will find only when you go looking for it. If you give up initially, there's no way you will find a good quote. Okay, there may be many quotes. Now, which one to choose? It is very, very essential that you choose a quote or a proverb which is either directly connected to your title topic, to your topic, or highlights the importance of what you're going to talk about. It, a very strong hint A very strong description should come out of that quote, which directly tells or is directly related to your topic. That is how you choose it. Secondly, a powerful phrase or statement. There have been many famous personalities in past who have made certain very powerful statements. When they made those statements in past, at that time nobody perhaps might have thought, even they might not have thought, that it is going to be such a powerful and powerful statement, or a statement which has great impact on people's minds and hearts. uh, However, later it came to be so. Later people used it when they got to know the meaning and the context. It became more and more famous, and they have been quoted many a times. For example, there are many famous personalities. I'll tell you a couple of names so that you can directly punch in quotes by such and such person, and you will find it there. For example, quotes by Winston Churchill. Now, who was Winston Churchill? Winston Churchill was Prime Minister of England many years ago, during the First and Second World War, especially during the Second World War. And he was a great statesman at that time. During that time, he made many sort of quotes or statements, I would say, which later came to be known by everyone, repeated by many speakers, and he has been quoted as it is. So these statements or quotes are so powerful that they have outlived the people who spoke them, right? Secondly, you can quote great uh, you know scientists also, maybe Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, quotes and statements by Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, or statements or quotes by like the one that I used, by William Shakespeare, or other authors, novelists, and dramatists. All right. Again, the condition is same, that the quote should be directly related to your topic. It should highlight something about your topic. A very strong connection has to be there. Otherwise, it will be of no use. All right. Uh, Thirdly, we come to data or statistic. Now, here is a case when we are not able, maybe some quote does not really apply to that scenario, or there is no powerful statement as such we are able to find, or the topic is such that there is very little point in using a quote or a proverb. For example, you are to describe or tell people about some sort of natural disaster that has happened in past, how it had impacted people and all. Okay, so I'll give you an example here. Like you can see, the disaster of 2004. Back in 2004, we had a very disturbing event towards the end of 2004. On 25th of December, we had a major earthquake, which gave rise to, as a consequence of that, we had a major tsunami which affected many countries, more than 18-20 countries. India was one of them. And lakhs of people lost their lives and many thousands were missing. Now, if you were to, talk about this particular topic, all right, how do you start? You can start with the data or statistics. I will demonstrate it for you. All right. First, yes, I greet the audience. I tell them my name, after which I introduce my topic. So I'll do just that. All right. A very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Mini Dave, and I will be talking about a natural disaster, a natural calamity, a catastrophe of, uh, um, I mean, I'm so sorry, a calamity of amazing proportions that happened, which took lakhs of lives. Many were displaced, thousands were missing. It affected more than 18 countries. Yes, I'm going to be talking about the natural disaster which was caused by a tsunami in 2004. All right, these are my words. It was impromptu. You can devise it your own way. It is not essential that you use a same exact sequence or a same exact way of saying it. All right. So here you have used a data where you have given that lakhs of people. You may also quote the exact figure. You can find it out. Some 250,000 people lost their lives, and more than 18 countries were affected because of the tsunami. So the moment you give this data, give this figure in the start of the speech, you immediately, the attention of the audience is drawn to you. All right, most of them might be knowing about it already, but there is always a curiosity among the audience to know more about it. You know, the audience there sitting in front of you, they are not there to threaten you. We feel that people might laugh at me when I fumble. People might, you know, they might make fun of me if I forget something, or if I, you know, commit some mistake over there. They might mock at me. That is not the case. Your audience is your strength. Have that belief in yourself that my audience is my strength. They will cheer me. They are there to encourage me. They are not there to judge you. So, with that belief, you move on with your speech. All right. Okay. Another way of starting your speech could be anecdote or a real event. All right. Anecdotes are, they are not exactly like a joke. Anecdotes are like some real life event that has happened with you or with somebody, a famous one, which is, you know, most talked about, and it's a bit amusing. It makes people smile or laugh. Okay, it's mostly, almost always, it is very very amusing and brings smile on people's faces. So that is one way you can start your speech and thereby introduce your speech. You can also quote a real event. Very interesting events, you can always Google and find many such anecdotes and real events you will find in the life of Winston Churchill. Very funny ones, which are full of fun, not funny ones, which are full of fun. And when you read it, you almost always smile. And there is also a message there, which you can extract once you read it. So do research about all these things so that you have a repertoire of such anecdotes or such quotes and proverbs. So it is handy for you whenever there is maybe a speech or maybe a presentation. It's always handy and you can use it. All right. Then you can use a what if scenario, meaning you put a question to your audience. You do not give any data. You do not start it with any quote. You pose a question, one or maybe more than one, at the most two questions, not more than that. So you present your audience with a question which is so compelling that it makes them think, that it makes them think deeply, and which is why they get interested in what you are about to speak. What if scenario, let's say you are talking about the extinct animals, or the animals which are endangered species and are about to extinct. What if all the tigers are wiped off from the face of earth? That is a what if scenario. You have just given them a question. What if the glacier from which the river Ganga emanates completely disappears in a couple of decades to come? Yeah, that's a very, very serious question. That's a very, very compelling thing, because the rivers that have been flowing for thousands of years are suddenly going to disappear. That's a very compelling thought, and that is how you can. That depends. Again, the question is should be directly related, like I said, to your topic, and it should be such that it presents with a real life situation as well. It shouldn't be a very utopian idea that it will never happen in our lifetimes, at least. Okay, so it should be such that the question is really very real, very very authentic, and very very compelling. So you can start, you can introduce your topic by presenting a what if scenario or a question. Imagine scenario visualization, which I just did, where I was describing about something and my audience was at the same time listening to me, and they were okay visualizing, okay, some monument, some building, okay, some monument that was gifted by one country to another. Why was it gifted? So they are at the same time, they're imagining in their minds while I was introducing or describing about what I was going to speak. So you help them visualize. And question, what if scenario is almost the same. So the first thing that a quick recap, let's do a quick recap. The first thing that we did was, how are we going to actually start once we are on the stage? First, yes, we greet the audience appropriately. And then we give them our names, our full names, along with the surname, not just your first name. It's a formal event. See, it may happen that the audience are your friends, your class fellows, or the audience are known to you because it's an event happening in your society, in your building, maybe, right? So you know most of the people, irrespective of that fact. You might be knowing them, doesn't matter. They know your name already, and it sounds awkward to be, telling them again in a very formal way that I am so and so. That's all right. It's a thumb rule, it has to be followed. You greet them, you tell them your name, after which you introduce the topic. Okay, now you might have a question here, that is it necessary that we always, introduce the topic in these ways that we just discussed? Let's say if I have only 2 minutes of time allotted to me for my speech, what do I do? If I spend maybe 30 to 40 seconds out of those 2 minutes to introduce the topic with a couple of sentences, then I am falling short of, I will be left with what, 90 seconds to discuss about the topic, the main message. Yeah. So the thing is, in such a situation, when you feel that the time allotted to you is very, very limited, and the message that you have, the content that you are going to deliver, will be taking a lot of time, you need more time for that. In that case, you can simply put it on the platter to your audience saying that the topic of my speech today is this, or I'm going to be talking about blah, 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 whatever the topic is, the title, you put it as it is, right? If you have more than that, or there is no limitation of time, you may take 3 minutes, you may take 5 minutes, it is entirely left to you, whatever time you take. In that case, you have the luxury of using all these methods, or maybe, one of these methods to introduce your topic. All right. So you will be sitting in the position to judge if I'm going to introduce my topic like this, or I will simply put it on the platter. That depends on time. So the first thing, we greet the audience, we tell them our names, meaning we introduce ourselves, after which we introduce the topic. Once that is done, you start with your main speech, the one that we drafted. Okay, so this is how we are going to move. This is how the whole speech is going to look like. Preparing for the speech. First, the introduction of yourself, introduction of the topic. That comes obviously after greeting the audience, after which the body meaning the main message, the main speech that you have drafted, which you are going to deliver on stage. After which comes the conclusion. Now, what happens is you have delivered the whole speech. Now you might be wondering that, okay, fine, I remember the first introduction part, that is pretty easy. I remember my name, but what if I forget the main body, where to start the message from, what were the first few lines, what do I do if I forget a couple of points? All those questions are there, but just breathe, okay? Take a deep breath. Don't burden yourself with all that, because we will be actually practicing and rehearsing. Till now, we have not rehearsed. Okay, we are only standing on the stage like we did when the session started. We are still standing on the stage. We have only greeted the audience just, and we have told them our names, and we have only introduced the topic, and that's it. We have not yet started the speech. All right, we will practice for that. You will practice for that along with me. All right, but for this session, just for a moment, imagine that you have delivered your speech. How you will deliver it, we'll discuss it, each and every part of it. You have delivered your speech and you are about to be over with that. You are about to end your speech. How do you do that? Those last lines of your speech which you drafted, you have said. Now how do you do? Do you end it just abruptly and leave the stage? Do we do that? No. When the speech is about to be over, when you have told them the last couple of sentences of your speech, you need to conclude it. Now, how do we conclude? Again, a lot depends on what sort of topic has been given to you. Okay, now again, let's say the topic was Statue of Liberty. Okay, and your 3 minutes or 4 minutes speech is over, where you gave in all the details, that what is it, where is it, why was it built, by whom was it built. You remember the mind map: what, where, when, why, how, which, all these questions. See, we draft the speech based on these questions. All right, you did all that. You answered all those questions. You sequenced it and you spoke about it. How do we conclude it? Towards the end, when your main speech is done, you can conclude it by saying that indeed it is the most awe-inspiring and magnificent monuments ever built. It is indeed the monument which symbolizes fraternity, freedom, liberty, and hope for everyone who has ever gone to that country. It stands like a monument which greets and welcomes everyone whosoever immigrated to the America with a hope to live the American dream. Thank you. That is how you conclude it, where you are sort of summarizing about the main idea about that, the topic, that this is how you feel, these are your views. Let's say, for example, the speech was about the tsunami of 2004. Okay, you gave all the facts, that what happened, when it happened, why it happened, why was it such a disaster, why there were no warning systems and all, why so many lives were lost, and so many people went missing, what all happened in the aftermath of that. Okay, so once you are done describing all that, what do you do towards the conclusion? That many governments, all of the countries have decided, and they have actually implemented warning systems across the oceans, that whenever such tsunamis are arising, they are coming, so people get intimation and warnings in advance, which through which we can minimize the loss of lives, and any such event can be avoided by from repeating itself. Thank you. All right, this is how you end it. So I have modeled two different topics, entirely different topics, that how are you going to end it. So towards the conclusion, you sort of summarize the whole thing only in a couple of sentences, not a big summary. Okay, only in a couple of sentences, that how you felt, what all happened, and what finally is done. So conclusion can be done in these ways. Thirdly, you can restate the subject. Again, going back to the topic, the title topic, you can restate it, and then you can conclude it that, so this was all about this thing from me today. Thank you. All right. You just one sentence where you restate the topic and you say that this was all about it from me. Thank you. Again, with a smile. All right. Or you may summarize the key points like we did in these two. All right. Don't be worrying as to what are we going to do? How are we going to conclude? Because we'll be taking a couple of demo topics and we'll be applying all these learned concepts to those topics, and we'll see how can we start it in different ways, how can we conclude it in different ways. Okay, once you are done with the conclusion and the concluding statement, you need to thank your audience. How we thank our audience, because they have been attentive, they have been listening to you very very patiently. Perhaps they gave you a couple of round of applauses during your speech, to which you can say that thank you for being a very encouraging audience, thank you for being a very wonderful audience, and that's it. You do not need to really elaborate on that part. Plus, there is one more thing that you do not say towards the end of your speech, and that is, I hope you enjoyed my speech. You don't say that. There's no need for that. Okay. I hope you liked my speech. No. Why don't we say that? Because we have faith in ourselves. We know that I have internalized my topic, I am compassionate about my topic, and I'm good at it. I have delivered a good speech. So you do not go almost, that, oh, please do like my speech. We are not sort of, in that pleading state. Okay. You deliver your speech with confidence, you deliver your speech with, all the positive body language. So towards the end of it, you do not all plead to the people that, oh, I hope you liked it. No, we don't say that. Okay. And in fact, when you were starting your speech, suppose even you were feeling nervous, you fumbled for words, it is absolutely fine. It is absolutely fine. What do you do at that time? Let's imagine for a moment that you suddenly go blank for a couple of seconds. It's absolutely fine. You take a deep breath, pull yourself together. Okay, tell yourself that I know everything, I have read about it, I have researched about it. There is no way I'm going to mess this thing up. There's no way I'm going to forget anything. All right, you tell yourself that nobody else is going to do that for you. Right, you pull yourself together, you take a deep breath. Why deep breath? Because your body, your brain needs a lot of oxygen at that time. When you're facing the audience, a lot of energy is being consumed at that time. So you take a deep breath, you tell yourself, you pull yourself together, and you greet your audience, you welcome them, and you go ahead. You will remember everything, don't worry. And of course, we'll do a lot of techniques to master this art. And this is how you tame your fear. To get rid of fear is, yes, difficult, but you can always tame it. You can always, put it somewhere at the back of your mind, lock it down there and forget about it. All right. Towards, when you're starting the speech, like I said, if you fumble, do not apologize. Do not say that, oh, I'm feeling very, very nervous and so I forgot. I'm so sorry. I'll start again. No, there is absolutely no need for that. Your audience will understand. The audience is very considerate. Okay, they are not there, like I said, they are not there to judge you. They are not there to make fun of you. They want to listen to you. They want to know what you have to say, because what you are going to say is going to add a lot of value to them. You are definitely going to tell them something which perhaps they did not know earlier, right? So have that faith, go with that faith, and do not apologize or excuse in case you fumble somewhere. If you cough or sneeze in between, that is fine. You can simply say, excuse me, or I'm sorry, right? But do not say that I got nervous and so I forgot where to start or how to start from. No, 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 don't say that. All right. Okay, now moving on. We thanked the audience in these ways by simply thanking them, after which comes the Q&A session. Question and answer session. See, we can plan the speech. We did plan the speech. We drafted it. We also, practice that how it is going to look like on the stage. But we do not know what all questions might be asked by the audience after the speech is over. You have already thanked the audience, so don't just suddenly, leave the stage, because, sorry, there may be a couple of questions or clarifications that might come from the audience. We cannot anticipate those questions. It may be a situation where the people do not have any questions for that, in which case you thank them. The compeers will say that, okay, the Q&A session is not there because nobody has any questions. You thank them and you leave the stage. Suppose after you have concluded the speech, you simply say thanks to them, and the compeers come, or the whosoever is organizing that, they come with a couple of questions to you, that these are the questions that have been asked by the audience. Or maybe the audience are directly asking a question to you with, mic in their hands, in which case you go ahead with clarifying those points or answering those questions. How to handle a Q&A session? All right. See, at school level, when you are in grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, nobody is going to ask you, unnecessarily challenging questions. Nobody is going to bother you with unnecessarily extremely difficult questions. Trust me. All right. But still, you should be prepared. So a couple of questions you can always anticipate that perhaps they might ask this, perhaps they might ask that. So how do I answer that? When you are doing your research, you have all those answers in the what, where, when, why, who. Let's say, for example, you ask me, okay, please tell us who built the Statue of Liberty. Though I might have included that in my speech already because it is an important detail. But somebody forgot. The audience did not remember what name you said. So they might again ask you. Then you tell them that he was a French sculptor named Mr. Bartholdi who sculpted the whole statue. So you should be prepared for that. There may be some other detail which you may not have included in the speech for time constraint or for any reason that might be asked. So you have to anticipate those questions, and you would write those questions right at the time when you are researching and reading about the topic, that this might be asked by the audience, that might be asked by the audience. Okay. Now, if there is a question which you are not able to handle, which you do not know the answer to, do not worry. Do not say, I'm sorry. Okay. Nobody knows everything about everything. It is absolutely fine that you do not know something. In response to such a question where you simply say that I have not much idea about this particular thing, whatever they have asked, though I will definitely do a research about it and find answer to it and learn about it. You accept it that, okay, this was something I do not know. This was something I could not research about it. Okay. You accept it. Do not, try to make up something at that time. Otherwise, the person who is asking the question, he will know that you are trying to somehow, build up something just for the sake of answering or giving response to something. Okay. You simply accept it that, yes, I do not know about it. And though I would love to research about it. And that's the first thing I will do. Thank you. That's how you wrap it up. Once the question answer session is over, you thank the audience again and you leave the stage. You never show your back to the audience, though the situation will not arrive, because when you are leaving the stage, you leave like this, towards to your right or maybe to your left. And that is how you wrap it up. If they are, clapping or cheering at that time, so take a moment there, maybe a couple of seconds, and just nod a little. Don't bow down too much. Just nod a little, meaning you have acknowledged that they are, giving you a round of applause. You acknowledge that and then you leave. All right. So a quick recap and a task. Quick recap. What all did we learn today? First, we learned that once our speech is drafted, how is it going to look on the stage? So we greet the audience, we introduce ourselves, and we introduce our topic. That is how we capture the attention of our audience. That is how we Design the whole performance on the stage. Don't forget, this is a performance that you are doing on a stage. So a lot of rehearsal is going to be there. You have to see yourself on the stage each and every minute of it. All right. So these three things. After which, how do we conclude our speech? What all do we say during, those concluding statements? It could be one sentence. It could be two or three sentences. We don't repeat the whole thing, but we concluded by saying, in my opinion, in my views, this is why, this is that, like that. All right. Or maybe you summarize a couple of important points. That is how you conclude it. After which, yes, you thank your audience. And then you leave the stage and you applause, and you acknowledge if they're applauding, right? They are applauding you. All right. So task. Rehearse greeting the audience, your introduction, and introduce your topic to your audience. This is your task, which you have to do at your places. You have to rehearse it. Rehearse what? Greeting the audience, telling them your full name, meaning introducing yourself, and introducing your topic. Now, you can choose any which topic. You can choose whatever you like, and you build an introduction around it. Maybe 2-3 sentences, anything. You build an introduction around it, and then you say it a couple of times, 10 times, 20 times, whatever. Say it aloud. Don't just say it in your mind sitting on your study table. No, don't do that. You actually stand up. You actually imagine that people are sitting in front of you, and you actually greet them and say all these, a couple of sentences that you have prepared. You may want to write it down. That's your choice, but say it aloud. Don't just mumble that. Oh, no, 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 no. No, say it aloud, say it clearly. All right. So that is the task for today. And so the task for today, it is clear. I'm sure you're liking it and you will practice at your places. All right. So that we call it today. That's all for today. Bye-bye. Thank you.